Some people look at it for the money. I'm not gonna lie, it's better money than you're gonna make at a staff job. That's part of it, but it's the fact that there are so many different places that do the same things you do, but they do them in such a different way. Sometimes they're better ways. Sometimes you have the better way, but you can always learn something. I can honestly say that there's never been a contract, there's never been a hospital that I've worked with, there's never been doctors that I've worked with or other nurses that I've worked with that I didn't learn something. I walked away from that facility a better nurse because I learned how to do a procedure a different way, or I learned how to approach something a different way, or I even changed my mindset about something. You know, maybe it is better if you look at it from this angle instead of this one. It broadens your mind as long as you walk into it thinking this is an opportunity to get better. You're gonna learn a lot. I can go anywhere. You know, I can go, if I want to go to the beach for the winter, I can do that. If I want to go to the mountains for the summer, I can do that. You know, no matter what you want to do, you can do it. It opens up doors. If you get tired of the politics, you know, if you get somewhere that you absolutely hate, you got 13 weeks. You can do anything for 13 weeks. If you get somewhere you absolutely love, you can always start saying, you know, is there an extension? Can I stick around? Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. But like I said, you will learn things. You'll learn to look at things in a completely different way. You'll learn to go in and accept things. You'll open yourself up if you just go in open to it instead of going in and thinking, okay, this is the way I've always done it. This is the way it's gonna be done. If you go in and you look at it and you're like, yeah, that looks like a little bit of a better way to do it. You know, it will teach. I probably have learned more in the last 3 years traveling than I did in the whole 12 before when I was at a permanent staff job. Anybody can do it if you go into it with the right mindset. You cannot go into travel nursing if you're somebody who likes the same kind of patient with the same people on the same floor, doing the same thing all the time. As a traveler, you will be floated first. That's pretty much the universal rule. Sometimes you'll get those assignments that nobody else wants. You know, you do need to be a very confident person. You need to know what you know, and you need to know that you know what you know because there's nobody that's gonna teach you. You know, when you're a new nurse or you're a new employee to the hospital or whatever, you go in, usually you get 12 weeks. You've got somebody with you saying, this is how we do it, checking over what you're doing, making sure you're doing the right thing, whatever. As a traveler, you don't get that. You get that 3 days. And then they're like, okay, here's your assignment. You need to step it up and do it. So your nursing skills, you have to have them down pat. And you have to be confident. The way your patient is gonna react to you is the way you react to your patient. If you go in frazzled because you've never had somebody like that before, you've never had that procedure, you've never assisted with what they're doing, you've never had any experience with it, and you're nervous, they're gonna feed off your energy and they're not gonna trust you. So you have to go in and you have to say, I'm good with this, I've got it. So it takes a very confident person to be an effective travel nurse. The majority of us are probably single. I'm not gonna say definitely, but probably. I have seen people with families. I've seen some who leave their families for an extended period of time and go back for visits. I worked with a couple in New Mexico that had an RV, you know, and everybody went. Dad stayed home and homeschooled the kids while mom worked, you know, and their kids were amazing. You know, but you see all kinds. It's kind of whatever you decide fits your lifestyle, whatever you can fit your lifestyle into, you know, you see it all. The best resource that I have found is to go on Facebook because there are actually travel nurse pages and people will actually go on there and say, hey, I'm in Houston. You know, any other travelers here that want to get together? You know, travel nurses are very outgoing and we're very open to new people, I guess, and it doesn't bother us to walk into a restaurant and meet you for the first time and spend the next 3 hours, you know, eating with you and doing whatever to get to know you, because that's what we do constantly. You have a 3-month contract, you get to know the people there, and then by the time you really get to know them, it's time to leave and go somewhere else, and then you do it all over again. You meet those people and you form those friendships, and then it's time to leave and do it all over again. You're leaving your family, you're leaving your friends, everything you have ever known. You're leaving, and you're walking into a place you don't know anybody, you have no support. Everybody you meet is a stranger. That first week or two, you're gonna be miserable. You're gonna question, why am I doing this? Why did I think this was a good idea? But then remember why you are doing it, because it's gonna expand your horizons. It's gonna teach you so much. It's gonna develop your nursing skills, because you don't have those people to fall back on. You don't have those people that are behind just saying, oh, here, I'll do that for you. You're gonna do it, and you're gonna get good at it, and you're gonna realize, hey, I can do this. I am good enough to do this. I do know what I'm doing. And that's priceless. That gives you that attitude that you can walk in that door. And if you haven't had a patient with whatever's going on with them, you can say, I'm Heather, I'm your nurse today, and we're gonna have a good shift. That feeling means everything.